Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another installment in the K&R and Scenic Valley Railroad build. If you watched the previous installment, you'll have seen me start the track laying on the top level and get the main yard completed. And this week I'm going to continue with track laying on the rest of the railroad. So without further ado, let's just head out into the workshop and get busy. Well, this afternoon I started at this benchwork joint and I worked my way back along this branch line yard. I got this big massive turnouts in under the Mountain Dew cans. I think there's 9, maybe 10, and a few yards of track. Of course, all of these turnouts had to be trimmed, so that slows me down. I got 3 more spurs to do in here tomorrow, and then everything on this end. I am short of 2 right hand number 6 turnouts, so I'm going to have to build those tonight. So don't go away, I will check in with you again tomorrow. Well, here is yesterday afternoon's work with the weights removed. All the track along the front edge is done, along with one of the spurs into the back. And I've gone all the way as far as the benchwork joint. The spur by the Mountain Dew bulk transfer facility is not glued down yet, it's still resting there. I ran out of weight last night. Now I think I will start there today, get that one in, and then do the spurs missing at that are missing at that end. That will use up most of the weights. And then by the time I've got all these turnouts to fit, then those weights will have done their job. So I can continue in here, get the turnouts in, and then gradually do all the spurs. As with yesterday, most of them need trimming, so they take some time. I'll check in with you again periodically. Don't go away. Well, that end of this town is done. All the turnouts are in. All the central spurs are in, except for the 2 at the front. So I just have 4 spurs along the front edge to do, and the 5 long ones that curve around through the backdrop. And then this town is done. I think that's a pretty good morning's work. I'm going to go in, get some lunch now, and I'll come back out and continue this afternoon. Don't go away. Well, I've jumped around a bit this afternoon. If we look along the edge here, we can see that all the straight track has been done, as has the coal trestle. I cut that out with the jigsaw and then put a lower piece of foam in to act as the base for it. The track across the top is just tacked in a couple of places, just enough to stop it falling off in transit. I did the same with this spur in front of the camera now, because that one serves a power plant, and at some point the track will have to be removed to dig the pit for the coal dump. So that's why that's only tacked in place. It's easy to get it out just for sliding a knife blade through the, I think, 2 dabs of glue that I put in there. I haven't laid any of the spurs that curve through the backdrop. That's because I don't currently have any micro-engineering Code 70 flex track in stock, and I like to use that on the curves, or at least anywhere that I'm going to need a joint on a curve, because it's the only brand of flex track that holds its shape in such situations. So that's why I want to wait till I have that. So rather than waste the afternoon, I moved over to the other side. I laid those 5 turnouts in the intermediate branch line town, and then I moved to the main line, and we'll just go around the other side quickly. Here are the branch line turnouts that I put in. I can't continue in any direction from there because once again I need the micro engineering Code 70 track. So I move to the main line. There is the curved crossover, which is the last of the Walther's turnouts that the client asked me to use. Now I did have 4 pieces of micro engineering Code 83 flex track available this afternoon, and that was just about enough to get around this curve. If you see here, it extends a few inches past the benchwork joint, and I will solder a piece of Pico Flex Track to the end there where it goes into the easement. Around the other direction, I have put the easements in this end and run all the way down the straight. That's all Pico. Now I stopped at this point because I didn't have any more Code 83 track out here. So rather than run inside and get another box just a few minutes before I'm going to pack up anyway, I spent the last few minutes of the day plotting this turnout and drilling the hole for the switch machine. I haven't glued it in place yet because I want to get it properly lined up with the straight tracks either side without introducing any kinks. Anyway, I should have my delivery sometime next week, and in the meantime I have plenty to get on with. On Monday I will probably start bus wires and get those done. In fact, that might even take me Monday and Tuesday. And then I have a gazillion feeders to put in, and by then I should have my track. So let me just pan around the layout. Most of the track has now been laid. It's Monday afternoon. I had a lot of appointments in town this morning and I didn't get out here till nearly 3 o'clock, but I have run all the bus wires. It's just a big mess here right now. At the moment they're all left plenty long enough. I have to get the PM42 boards, the power district managers, and install those down there, and then everything runs back from there. I got all the bus wires around the end. And along this side, around this end, and all the way as far as this terminal block. Tomorrow I will continue. I can probably get them finished tomorrow, and then bring out the power district managers and get those hooked up. So don't go away, I will check in with you again tomorrow. Well, I've been out here a couple of hours on Tuesday morning, and I thought I'd pause to make a clip showing my method for pulling the bus wires through. I start by throwing all the coils of wire in a box, just so they don't roll all over the floor as I'm pulling on them. And then I feed them up through the holes. In this case I had to go around the back of the backdrop to get them the other side. And then I pull them out where the next terminal block is, at the next benchwork joint, with plenty of slack. And now what I will do is hook up this end first, and then I will pull the wires back through until I have them the right length before cutting them off at the previous terminal block. That way I don't waste any. Anyway, I am almost done with this step. Once I finish this board, I have one more to go, and then a few little bits and pieces. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Well, the main bus wire runs are done. This is the last full board, so of course everything goes its own separate ways. Here's a pair being terminated there. The red black for the main line goes further than any of them, all the way around the outside of the helix, ending here, while the yard bus and the auxiliary bus for structure lighting ends up in here. If everything had gone according to plan, I would be done by now, but unfortunately I just checked my power supplies and they are only 4 amps, not 5. There they are in the box. So I can't get as many octopus boards off each one as I thought I could. So I am going to have to go all the way back to this point and run an extra yellow and purple pair around the front edge, all the way around. I will follow the red blacks at the front so that I don't end up with two wires of the same colour in the main loom. So I have to go all the way around the entire layout as far as here, and I will terminate it somewhere around this point. That will give me all the extra power that I need for my switch machines. But that is a task for after lunch. I'm going to go and get some food, so don't go away. I'll check in with you again later. Well, I haven't made any video clips today because there hasn't really been much to see. However, this morning I got the DCC shelf worked out. I have the two PM42 quad power district managers mounted on the side. I mounted them what might be considered upside down because that way it's not possible for sawdust or any other debris to fall into any open sockets. So I thought that'd be preferable. And then, as you can see, I've used wire ties to stop any strain on these wires as the drawer is pulled out. I haven't mounted any of the switch machine power supplies yet because I had to order different ones. The ones I had were no good. Anyway, this afternoon I have been working on feeder wires. I have all the feeders in this town installed and soldered to the rails. None of it's attached at the bottom yet. And then I started in the main yard. I've put most of the feeders in, although I ran out of blue and white wire. I need to order some more. A yard like this uses up a lot of feeders. And then I started soldering into the rails in this area about an hour ago. And that's as far as I got. So I will come out and continue tomorrow. I'll check in with you then. Don't go away. Well, it's been a long day today, but if we look under the layout, under the railroad, all the feeder wires have been hooked up. The only ones still hanging down are the green ones, the frogs. So I've done this side, and I've done this side. I've still got a few that I haven't finished yet because I made those too short, and I'm going to either have to take them out, put new ones in, or lengthen them. And those are the two colours that I've run out of. I've got these pieces which are probably long enough to lengthen them with, so I will do that tomorrow. Anyway, don't go away, I will check in with you then. Well, it's Friday afternoon, about 5:30, and it may not look like much has changed, but if we look down here we can see some lights are on. Yes, I have been installing switch machines. I started off this morning by finishing up all the wiring in this area, building that cantilevered shelf at the back for the power supplies and surge protectors. Then I prepped a whole load of switch machines. Let me go over to the workbench. I prepped about 40 switch machines this morning, gluing the servo into the bracket, taping it up with electrical tape, bending the control rod and attaching it, and also testing them. And then I mounted all my octaboards. I mounted all my Octopus 3 boards on plywood because it's a lot easier to attach it under the benchwork with just 2 drywall screws. I did do 12 of them, but I've installed the other 7. So anyway, I'm going to call that a day, and I will check in with you again Monday. Don't go away. Well, it is now Tuesday morning, July 26th. I didn't get out here at all yesterday because my dogs got into a fight in the morning and I injured my hand separating them, and I could barely move my fingers. Anyway, they have recovered a little bit, and yesterday I had 2 packages arrive. The missing wire that I needed to finish the feeders, and a box of microengineering flex track. So I now have plenty of projects that I can get on with. So don't go away, I will check in with you again periodically. I have installed all the curving spurs in this corner, the 3 really long ones and 3 shorter ones over the other side. What I'm going to do now is move all the tools around to the far side of the benchwork. Well, I've already moved them around there, and I am going to work on closing the gap on the branch line between this intermediate town and the end of the peninsula. So let me work on that and I'll be right back. Well, I finished closing the gap on the branch line. If we follow the camera all the way around, you can see that the 2 towns are now connected up. And since I have some more time left over, I have started working on doing the same with the main line. I've curved the first 2 pieces of microengineering flex track, and I've soldered the copper ties where the power district joins. Next thing I need to work on is getting some bridge track across the stream here, and one 36-inch length of bridge track is just about enough to do both tracks through there. And then when I get around the end of the curve, I need 2 more lengths of bridge track to go over the truss. Not quite sure how far I'll get this afternoon, so don't go away. I will check in with you again later. Well, I have got this mainline end curve done, both tracks all the way around, just as far as the next benchwork joint. Since I don't have my watch with me today, I don't really know what time it is, but my gut feel is that it's about time to go in, and I'm happy with the day's progress anyway. So I will sign off for now, and I'll see you tomorrow. Don't go away. Well, I didn't make a recording when I first got out here this morning. As you can see, I have removed all the track weights from what I did yesterday, and I have started working on closing this gap through the truss bridge. All the track along this 1 8-foot section has been cut and fitted, but none of it's glued down yet. I've now got to take it apart, making sure I don't mix anything up, and glue it in place, make sure it's nice and straight. So let me get on with that, and I will be right back. I have now finished installing the track along this straight and through the bridge. The plain track is glued down, although the track through the bridge has not yet been glued. I have to install the guardrails first, but I will do that some other time. And I have also finished the track around this corner. That's 2 of the gaps in the main line finished. I still have to close 1 more gap. Let me just show you where it is. I have about 8 feet of track to install around this curve, just on the 1 main line only. The other one I did some time ago. The only reason I didn't do the other one at the same time is that I didn't have any microengineering flex track left at the time. But now that I have some, just got to install that quickly. I've already bent it to shape, and then the main lines will be done. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Well, this gap has now been filled in. I also had to fix 2 small areas of track on the lower deck where I dropped a piece of wood on them earlier. So now all the main lines are complete. So now I can put away all the code 83 track, just so I don't have any chance of getting it mixed up, and just concentrate on finishing the branch line. From about where the boxer track is over there, all the way down the back is still missing. I won't be able to finish the corner because I'm still waiting for the bridge track, but I can get most of the way there this afternoon. So don't go away, I will check in with you again later. Well, I have installed most of the missing branch line track from this corner all the way down the back. This last turnout stopping just short of this bridge. There is probably 10 feet still to go around this corner, but I need the bridge track before I can continue. because there are two bridges in that area, both of which are open deck and therefore require a special track. It hasn't been a full day. I can probably still get a lot of feeder wires installed, but I don't feel like it. I'm just going to go in and do some other stuff inside. So I will continue another day. And in fact, this is probably a good place to break this video because the track laying on this railroad is just about done. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again next time.
Well, that's all for this installment. Unfortunately, with the missing bridge track, I'm not quite able to finish the track laying. All I need is 1 yard of code 70 bridge track, which I ordered October 4th, 2021, 2 months before I started the railroad build. And as you can see from the video, I've almost finished building it and I'm still waiting for that delivery. My hope is that it will get here in time to install it before I have to dismantle the railroad for shipping. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it in situ. But anyway, that's a wrap for this week's video. Hope you enjoy the show, and hope to see you again next time. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.